Hello. So we're back to this format of me, talking in my room. I have a different camera though, different microphone. Hello. I'm going to react to what are these shorts, right?
The technique versus tactics. This is a sequel to one I did before, Contact versus Context, talking about how the MMA industry is not real, it's a sport. And I want to talk about that. People didn't understand where I'm coming from. I have all the respect for the combativeness of what they're doing, but their tactics are geared for the ring, not for the street. See, in the street, we're dealing with things that can be utilized at any moment. People don't realize how much.
Now, you could watch this if you want. I'll leave in the link below. The gist of it is, it's the tired old debate of MMA is not good for self defense because it's a sport, it has rules, and it's the usual stuff of combat sports is not good for self defense. The gist of it is combat sports can be a gateway to learning martial arts, which can then be a gateway to learning self defense, which can then be a gateway to learning self defense tactics and strategy. And then it can be a gateway to learning how to prevent confrontation in the first place, yada yada yada. And of course, the comments to this is full of boomers. Boomers who like videos like this because it makes them feel better about themselves because, they can't bend down to tie their own shoelaces because of their 50-plus-inch guts getting in the way. Okay, not really, but, you get what I mean. Like, it's full of people like that. They don't train. It's not like I train that much though. Let's throw them a bone because I am recording this video right now because like around an hour and a half ago as of this recording, I was in the shower and I had a shower thought. And that shower thought is now a draft for a blog post. Who reads my crummy blog anyway? Avoider.net, where you can read my written content. Barely anyone reads it anyway. But previously, I wrote a blog post talk about the three levels of combat: reacting, predicting, and then controlling. The gist of it is master martial arts. You go from reacting to what your opponent is doing, and then to predicting what they're about to do, and then finally to actually controlling what they're doing. And I thought that was pretty cool. Like there was something to that. It's not an original idea, mind you. I heard about it from the YouTube channel Hard to Hurt.
If forcing them to do things is the highest level of martial arts, reacting is the lowest level. That's what the white belts are doing. That's what the new guys are doing. They're seeing what you do and they're trying to react to it. You're already too late. You don't want to be reacting.
So I'm gonna have to dig up more sources for whatever original text there is about the levels of combat. But then the shower thought. I thought control was the highest level. But then there could be a fourth. There could be a higher one. There could be the clouds above the peak of Mount Everest. And that is prevention. The fourth level of combat. I'm gonna write more about this. I just got out of the shower and immediately had to write it down. But let's flesh it out right now, right here, right now. What do I mean by prevention? Okay, so you now are able to control what your opponent is doing in a fight. You're able to make them attack the way you want them to attack so that you can counter them before they can even get to mount their offense. But then, what if you don't even have to control them? What if you can actually prevent them fighting you in the first place? At first, prevent your opponent from mounting their offense, and then you just take them out. A good example of that would be Jorge Masvidal versus Ben Askren. And I am a big Ben Askren fan, mind you. I'm more of a Ben Askren fan than I am a Jorge Masvidal fan. And I've been watching both of those guys since the early 2010s. Ben Askren, in fact, since 2008 because he got hyped up by SureDog.com. But Jorge Masvidal did there was preventing. He controlled even. He controlled what Ben Askren was going to do. He narrowed down his options to takedown because Ben Askren immediately went for the takedown. He was open for the flying knee. But I think Jorge Masvidal also did something else there. He prevented Ben Askren from being able to do anything else. He prevented him from mounting his offense. Okay, there's some there. But then, of course, that's a combat sport. You're supposed to fight. But what about outside? What about in real life? Do you want to fight in the first place? Of course not. Now, in a physical confrontation, how are you going to be able to prevent a fight from taking place in the first place? That's where you start learning about tactics. That's when you start learning that the gift of gab is actually more important than the gift of being able to throw a punch. There's something there, and I think I'm gonna see how this draft shapes up, because there's something to that idea. Then I'm also thinking about applying the levels of combat to other things, like for instance fighting games. Very good example, fighting games, because fighting games follows the same progression more or less. But then there's also other things like cybersecurity is a very good example. Protecting your own devices, protecting your computer, your data. At first, you're reacting to whatever threats there are, and then you start learning how to predict what's about to happen. And then finally, you're able to finally control your environment, control how other people are able to access your data. And then of course above that, prevention, and that's like blue team stuff. That's defense. A lot of people like to say that prevention is the very first thing. No, now perhaps most of you would say, shouldn't prevention be the very first thing in the first place? The thing is, when you're learning this stuff, it may actually be better to learn it the other way around. Not prevention first. You learn how to defend yourself against that thing first, and then you learn how to prevent yourself, because now you know the lay of the land. You know the bigger picture. Once you understand the bigger picture, then you're able to properly learn how to prevent yourself from getting into such situations in the first place, whether it's a physical confrontation, or getting your data stolen, or getting people invading your home, or getting your children kidnapped. A lot of that stuff. First, you gotta be able to understand the threat first, and then you work backwards until you then finally start working out how to prevent yourself from getting into such a situation in the first place. Because you can't always prevent 100%. Yes, prevention is better than the cure, but you still have to learn how to cure in the first place, because you never know if you're going to get the illness anyway. As we know from 4 years ago, sometimes you just can't prevent getting sick in the first place. It just happens. Life happens. So you got to be able to know how to deal with the threat, and not just, be able to stay away from it. Isn't it better to learn how to be brave than to learn how to be a coward? These are ideas that I'm throwing around in my head right now. What do you think? Well, what do you think about this topic? Anyway, I'm going to finish this blog post. Let's see what happens. Anyway, that's all for now. Till next time, stay Tor.